Welcome to the Quit Vaping podcast, the podcast designed to make you a non-listener. In this show, I'm not going to scare you away from a life of vaping. What I am going to do is show you just how good your life can be without it. Thank you so much for listening and enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to episode 40, you guys. I really do hope this is one of the last episodes you're going to have to listen to in order to quit vaping for good. So I got asked an interesting question the other day. Someone said, how is it possible you're doing a consistent podcast on quitting vaping? Shouldn't you just make like 2 or 3 episodes and be done? And I think it's really funny because yes and no. I have had that thought before, like how many episodes can I possibly crank out of my imagination before this is like dried up? And I think the answer is infinite because the work I do is not just on quitting vaping, right? Like the mindset, the thought and belief system management and the emotional management tools, literally you could learn and go deeper on your entire life. Like I've been doing the life coaching thought and emotional tools literally for 2.5 years now, and I get better at them every day. So I just think it's an interesting thing. It's like, it really isn't just about quitting vaping. And also, if you're changing your belief systems around nicotine, you're going to probably listen to all 40 of these podcast episodes and then still need some refreshers and some binging. And, you know, it's just the nature of this work is like your brain is resistant to change belief systems you've had for a long time. And it just never hurts to hear it 1,000 different ways. And then also the emotional work you can always go deeper on. So that is how I keep pumping out episodes. I can probably do this podcast for a couple of years until I really feel like I'm tapping out, but we'll see what happens. My brain's pretty magical and it comes up with all these creative things. So before I get going today, I want to tell you, I'm on my second cup of coffee already. It's Monday morning. It's 9 o'clock. I just did my scheduling for the week. I try to do that consistently on Monday mornings, get my whole week scheduled. I have a date planned, and let me tell you something. It is the 9th of October, and I live in Michigan. And if you've never been to Michigan in the fall, get your ass over here because it's the coolest place in the whole world ever to be ever. Like, there are apple orchards, and there's like fall everything, and the leaves are changing. Like, I'm looking out. I have an apartment that I got intentionally facing the woods, and the leaves are starting to change. And I don't know if you've ever been in Michigan in the fall, but the air here is the freshest air you will ever experience anywhere. I don't know what it's like, why. You'd think like the summer would have fresh air, right? When all the green is happening, but no. When the leaves are dying and it's crispy and it's like 60 to 70 degrees out and you get that like cool, refreshing breeze, like this is the best place to be in the entire world for the month of October. So show up here. And if you live in Michigan, go north and you're not impressed with like just normal Michigan in the fall, go north, because if you go up towards like Mackinac Island and Traverse City, it's just such a beautiful experience. Like it is magical. I can't say it enough. So if you have never done leafing, if you've been like live in California, like somewhere south, like Texas or Florida, and you've never seen the leaves, like come up here, check it out. You're so welcome. And just do it because it's such a cool experience and it's just magical. And I do want to say this before I get going. Last little note, I have a caramel candle burning in my apartment right now. I live in like an 800 or 900 square foot apartment, and I shut my bedroom and my bathroom door. So like I have this really strong candle. It's just pumping in here. And normally I'm not a huge fan of scented candles that are really overpowering, but let me tell you something. You can never have caramel and too much in your house. It's just amazing. I love it so much. I'm like, it's amazing. It's literally flickering, and above it is my Golden Girls calendar, and it's just a vibe today. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling lit on my little Tim Hortons coffee, and we're going for it. So today is a really special episode because today is kind of like the crowning, like I'm breaking the glass bottle or I'm cutting the rope on my new Quit Vaping program. And part of that is I have a really amazing PDF I made for you guys. It's literally called 20 Craving Tips for the First 3 Days. And it's all about helping you get past the first couple days of nicotine withdrawals because I think that's typically the hardest for most people. But remember, the work that I do is not really about the first 3 days to a week. The work that I do is helping you to understand the root problems with your vaping so that you never have to go back to it, right? And that usually takes a little bit longer. So the freebie I made, it's like you can get the link in my bio, but we're going to talk about the 20 tips today and just some like things you can do to frame your quitting. But be mindful that this isn't actually the method that I use to help you quit vaping in the long run. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. But let's talk about this amazing episode for today. So when you're first quitting vaping, it's really important to understand. Remember, the tools that I teach is that you actually have to change the way that you think about nicotine. Like you have to change your thoughts and beliefs surrounding nicotine, or you're always going to have desire to use it. And when you're quitting anything or trying to change any kind of behavior, but especially with vaping, you have to frame your mind in a way that's going to help you be successful. For example, when you first go into quitting, like spend some time before you just throw your vape out in a rageful manner. Like spend some time figuring out why you want to quit. Figure out why it's important that you quit right now. Figure out what's going to happen if you have an urge or a craving to vape. Figure out what's going to happen if you have a stressful day at work or anxiety or like there's a trigger, right? Like maybe somebody, a coworker brings their vape out in the middle of the day and they're stressed and you're stressed and it's like, oh my gosh, this is kind of a vulnerable time for me. I should have some kind of a plan, a mental map in my mind. So remember, most people do life completely wrong. I promise you this. And here's why. Most people try to change their behaviors or they try to create something in the world before they've understood why they have or haven't already done it before and gotten to the root source, which is your thinking, right? So a lot of people try to will themselves into taking new actions without understanding the emotions and the thoughts behind the current actions they're already taking. So they're literally fighting themselves. And that's why so many people try to change behavior and they're so wildly unsuccessful, right? Let's look at like dieting. I'm going to go and just change my diet for the next 3 weeks without understanding why I'm overeating in the first place. Okay, good luck with that. It'll probably work for you for like a day or two, but you're willpowering yourself, right? I'm going to throw my vape out without understanding why the hell I want it so badly in the first place. Well, good luck with that, okay? So before you just throw out your last vape or you even download this PDF, just take a few minutes to answer the questions and do this in your own time. Have fun with it. Like, come on. Don't make it dreadful, okay? Listen, everybody comes to me when they want to quit vaping, and I've talked to a lot of people now, and they're like so strung out and they're depressed about it and they don't want to quit. And it's like, no wonder you're having such a hard time quitting. Don't make it such a dreadful experience. And the way that you make it not such a dreadful experience is you actually get excited for it by pre-framing your thoughts, right? And you don't have to be wildly excited to quit vaping and make it a fun, happy, loving time that's not uncomfortable. It's going to be slightly uncomfortable, right? That there's growth in that. It should be uncomfortable. But just recognize that you don't have to make it dreadful. Something can be uncomfortable and challenge you without being dreadful. So like, for example, why do you want to quit vaping? Can you imagine a better life without nicotine? Have you ever done that before? It's really important. Like if you're looking at quitting and the life that you see after quitting is negative and you feel like you're sacrificing and it's not going to be as good, well, it's like keep vaping then. I mean it. I don't say that that's not tongue in cheek. If you cannot imagine a better life without nicotine than with nicotine, then I think you should continue vaping. And I'm really not being sarcastic. I'm going to say it again. Like if you can't figure out that your life's going to be better without nicotine, then don't quit. Because you're going to have a hell of a life and a hell of a time trying to quit. And then you're going to get back to it and then you're going to beat yourself up. I don't think that's effective and I don't recommend it for anybody. Okay? So pre-frame your mind. Why do you want to quit? Right? My life's so much better without nicotine. I tell you guys this all the time. You probably don't believe me. It really is better. Let me tell you something. I vaped for a week. I'm going to make a whole podcast episode about it, and I've actually included it in my program, my entire journey of vaping for a week and quitting. But I vaped for a week, and my life was not better with nicotine. And I want to tell you something else. My dad's cousin owns a cigar bar, and it's Northville, Michigan. If you're ever in Northville, Michigan, the Northville Cigar Bar. Enjoy. Thanks, Giacomo. We're so Italian. But I went out on Saturday with my dad and all of his family and my family, and I guess I should just say my family, right? And we all went out, and everybody got cigars, and I did it. I'm like, I'm going to get a cigar. Like, you're not supposed to puff it, whatever. First of all, I don't care what anybody says. Like, if you're inhaling a cigar, even if it's just in your mouth, you're getting the nicotine and you're inhaling something. Like, so don't let anybody trick you into thinking a cigar isn't getting nicotine. But anyways, I smoked a stogie for a couple minutes and I'm like, wow, this is a lot. And I don't know. And like all of my family was smoking them. My throat's still sore today. And like, I'm a baby about it now because I used to smoke cigarettes all the time, but I'm like, oh, how do people do this? Like, oh, it's so much nicotine and I feel so gross. But I just want to offer that my life really is better without nicotine in it now. And it was fun to go out on Saturday and like hit a cigar a couple times, but there was none of the mental drama that comes with like worrying, like vaping, right? Like, oh my God, I'm gonna get addicted again. All the anxiety and the stress. Like my life is different now because I process my emotions that I don't need nicotine to do that for me. And I've also changed my beliefs about nicotine in my life. So that's my little intro. Pre-frame your thinking to actually find out why you want to quit and make sure it's compelling and it's exciting and that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And then we can talk about today's episode, okay? 20 craving tips to help you for the first 3 days. And what I want to offer is this. There is a lot of different shit you can do to manage your cravings, and there's a lot of stuff that I would not recommend. So in today's episode, I'm actually going to give you some things to avoid the cravings. And remember, ultimately, the whole point of what I do as a life coach is help you learn how to sit in your cravings and manage those and process them so you don't have to escape them. But I think it's appropriate during the first 3 days to 10 days-ish while your body's chemically addicted to nicotine. I think it's important to give yourself some outs that you wouldn't want to give yourself in the long run. For example, if you have a really strong craving, I think it's completely appropriate that if you can't sit with it or you don't think you can, or it's really strong and you can't manage it, or in that moment you're having some weakness and you really want to vape and you just don't want to sit with the urge or the craving, I think it's okay to go and get like some fast food or go and get like a cup of coffee with some extra cream or something in it, right? Just like avoid the urge. Be mindful that the skill set of sitting with urges is not avoiding them, and I would not recommend that for the long run. But when you're first quitting, I think it's okay to take some shortcuts and some cheats because your body's chemically addicted to nicotine. Remember, the actual chemical addiction, the chemical addiction from nicotine only lasts about 3 days to 14-ish, depending on who you are. There's a bunch of studies, and it just depends on how much nicotine you use, how fast your metabolism is, if you're going to if you're eating a lot, drinking a lot of water, just depends on how fast it flushes out. But you're not addicted for more than a couple weeks. So that means that after you hit the 3 to 14-day mark, the only addiction that remains is the psychological addiction that comes from all the belief systems creating desire. So when it comes to those, that's when we do the coaching. That's when we change beliefs. That's when we sit with cravings. But again, I think during the first couple of days, it's okay to get out of those urges. And I want to give you some other examples. So here's my little freebie. It's so cute. It's amazing. I even put a printer-friendly version to the last page for you guys because I just love you so much that I'm willing to do that and save your printer some struggle because I made it black and red, and I think it's a really cute freebie. And I'm like, I can't make people print this, but that's what the printer-friendly version is for on the last page. So another thing that I thought was interesting, I've been on all these Reddit threads and all these Facebook communities. So I know that people get really strong cravings after they eat and they finish eating. That's like a really habitual place to go and rip on your vape. So one of the tips that I wrote down in this for the first 3 days to 10 days is somebody on Reddit said that if you get a straw in an ice cold glass of water and you suck water through the straw, don't drink water during the meal or before the meal. And then after you're gonna be really thirsty. And she said to drink ice cold water through a straw, and it emulates kind of the craving and the sucking on the vape while simultaneously giving you the satisfaction of hydrating yourself when you're thirsty. So she said that's a really good one for if you're eating or if you've just finished eating to kind of satisfy that urge. Another thing you can do is the sauna or the steam room. I thought that was really interesting. So somebody said that when you have cravings, go in the shower or the sauna or steam room, and it helps distract yourself from the craving, and it also helps you flush everything out of your body, right? Because remember, if we can get the nicotine out faster, then it's going to help with the cravings. Fidget toys are great. You can literally get any kind of fidget toy. There's so much crap out there, like the bubble poppers, the fidget spinners. You can get a pen to click. There's Play-Doh. I like Play-Doh. I know it makes your hands kind of smell and salty, but hey. Another one that I thought is really interesting as a tip is take some deep breaths. And the reason why, my brother was on probation. There's a story for this one. My brother was on probation in 2014. He got caught smoking weed a bunch, so he had to go drug test. And I think he was smoking cigarettes at the time or something. And what's it called? Probation officer said, if you have the urge to hit a cigarette or to smoke a cigarette, instead of doing that, why don't you just take 3 really deep breaths? Because it's very common that smokers, especially, and vapors, they don't take deep breaths unless they're ripping their vape. So they mistakenly associate the cleansing feeling of taking a deep breath with the vape or the nicotine. But really, they just need a deep breath. So it's an interesting one on there. Another one is a dopamine swap. So if you're having struggles for the first couple of days or the first week and you really want to hit a vape, go and do a dopamine swap. And again, remember, this isn't the skill set I recommend that you learn. That's what the program is for, to teach you that skill set of long-term, not avoiding cravings and urges and things like that. But if you're chemically addicted to nicotine, you're just trying to get past the first week, go and get your favorite meal, right? Go to McDonald's, get the damn M&M McFlurry because it's bomb as hell and they put a lot of M&Ms in it these days and I love their ice cream. Or better yet, go to Culver's, get the custard because who doesn't love custard? I know that there are people out there, I don't agree with you about the custard because it's the best thing ever. And it's who wouldn't want ice cream with more fat in it? Please. Anyways, do a dopamine swap. That's a really good thing to do. Okay. So another thing you can do for the first couple days is just stock up on some candy or something to chew on. Do it, girl, because it's going to help you tremendously. Chapstick. So listen, I know people are oh, chapstick's not really going to help me with a craving. If you get a flavor that's really good, it actually does. So it all depends. In my experience from quitting vaping and smoking a whole bunch, the flavor of the chapstick actually does help. And there's something about having lubed up lips if you get the right viscosity and the right flavor, right? It has to be the right brand. That really helps. And what's so funny is that the $1.25 tree, let's be honest here, right? In this podcast, we're coming from integrity. The $1.25 tree, they sell a 2-pack of chapstick called Chap Ice. And if you get the royal blue one, it's got a vanilla flavor and it's very, very good. This is the chapstick. I go in there and buy 10 tubes at a time because I freaking lose so many tubes of chapstick. But that is my It's got the right texture, the perfect viscosity, and it has the perfect light vanilla flavor that really does it for me. So if you need some recommendations, that's the one I would recommend for you. Okay, another one that's really good, and I use this one for food cravings all the time, is I like getting Mio, the water enhancer. I actually don't. This is the one I get. There's a strawberry Starburst. It's like a powdered drink, 0 sugar. It's got a bunch of fake sugars in it. And that's what I drink with a lot of ice. And I use soda water, not the sugary one. So I put soda water with a lot of ice, and then I put one of the Starburst strawberry mixer little drinky things in there. And I just sit there and chew on the ice and drink the drink really slow. And that helps me tremendously with food cravings. And it also helps me a lot with nicotine cravings. And when I was quitting vaping a couple weeks ago, when I did that challenge, I did that a couple times, and it was really, really good for cravings. So some kind of water with ice that you can sit there and chew on that's flavored, and it's really amazing. It's distracting, and yeah, it helps. But I want to offer this too, just as a little insider tip. The fake sugars, they bloat you. So I don't know if you know that, but I had 2 of those drinks a couple weeks ago, back to back, 2 of the little strawberry mixers, and they bloated the absolute living crap out of my stomach. So I looked it up online, and apparently the fake sugars, like aspartame and things like that, they bloat you because your body's not supposed to process like whatever the hell chemicals that is. So just use that one kind of sparingly. I'm sure that there's some effects there that we're not going to love hearing about in the next 20 years for fake sugars. So be careful with that one. Okay, another one that I will say is just like my own little insider tip is sing in your car. Listen, I don't care who you are. I don't care where you were born. Go sing in your car. I don't give a shit. Get on the freeway, put the windows up if you have to, and go scream some shit in your car, because that helped me so much. The first day I was quitting vaping, because this is a couple weeks ago, and this helps with food cravings too. I went and I was listening to Billy Joel Vienna, just screaming in my car, having a great time. And I look over because I forgot I was a human being next to other human beings in traffic. And this lady's just staring at me. It was so funny. I like breaking social norms. So that was fun. But yes, so those are some tips for you. There's a whole bunch more on this PDF. Just like download the PDF. It's a free download. I am going to grab your email. That's how this works. But it's a really nice PDF. And I also give you like a little exercise to pre-frame your thinking. And then if you want the printer friendly version, it's just one page. At the very end, you can click the link and it'll give you the printer friendly version for you to kind of sit down and like have the list and also do the little exercise on it. But it's a really, really, really awesome PDF. Again, there's things on here that I don't recommend using for the long term, but give yourself a hall pass. You're trying to do something that's really going to help you in the long run. And if you want to learn how to quit vaping for good, this is actually like the hallmark kind of podcast release, because by the very nature of you having access to this PDF, you also have access to the new program. And I'm really excited. Anyone who's bought the program before in the past is getting an automatic enroll into this new program. And if you're interested in like quitting for good and you want to like look into it, check it out. The sales page is great. It tells you everything you need to know, answers all your questions. And I will be doing live coaching now with you guys. So listen, if you want direct access to me and you want it for a really awesome one-time price, it's amazing. Literally lifetime access to me, the resources, the ever-changing and improving tools in this course, live coaching, and the private Discord community, whoop, whoop, where I will also be very, very active. You can check out the program. It's great. So I'm sorry to sell on here, but it's really good. I'm amazed of just how good of an offer it is. I've made it truly irresistible, and this shit's going to work for you. I even put a money-back guarantee for anyone who's completely dissatisfied, which won't happen. But, I just want to make sure that you guys feel safe and loved and comfortable buying, because I really do want this to work for everyone. And y'all going to see me around. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Go check out the PDF. It's linked in the bio of this show. And I'm just excited to be a part of your guys' quitting journey, and also to show you tools that will change your life. Not just help you quit vaping, help you live the life that you want to live the most, help you become the kind of person that you've really saw yourself as and have been dreaming of yourself as, your whole life. So thank you guys for being here. I'll see you around. You was kind. You was smart. You was important. And I'll see you on next week's episode. Bye. What's up, guys? I hope you're enjoying the show and that each episode is bringing you one step closer to becoming a non-listener. If you'd like to take all this information to the next level and finally quit vaping for good, you can check out the course link in my bio. Have a great day. See you next week.